All right, this is the midterm practice study guide going over step 6. How do we actually create that that result page? So notice if I put all of my items at 0 and click submit, it's going to basically say, thank you, you didn't order anything. Obviously the total is wrong. It's not calculating yet. But if I add some values and hit submit, now it's going to come in and tell me, hey, this is, you ordered one of these, and one of these, and these are the price. Here's your subtotal. Here's your tip amount at 16%. And obviously the total is still not working. So let's take a look at that code. So this is the answer.php. And at the top, we just start with an echo statement. And this is just an H2. Okay. And we echoed out your order. We threw a break on it, added another break. Okay. So this, for line 2, line 3, and line 4, it is just HTML. Notice lines 6 through 13, we're actually getting the our post from the previous form. And notice I say scoop 1 quantity is equal to post 1 scoop. Where is this coming from? This actually comes from, if you look at the form itself, it's coming from the name here. So whatever we named it here is what we have to name it inside the code. So that's where this is coming from. So it's getting the post, whatever the name was, all the way down to tip. Okay. So notice I have my comment up here. Get the variables from the form. I do another comment. Calculate total cost of each item. I'm just taking the quantity and I'm timesing it by what the amount is of each item, and it's coming over here and it says what the total cost is. And I do that for all 6 items that I'm selling. Now it gets a little bit tricky. Now I need to say, what if they didn't buy anything? Okay, what if it was if the quantity is 0 or less than 0? Maybe someone made a mistake and put -1. We don't want that to affect the total price. So we just say, if it's 0, let's calculate this. Okay, so technically what we should do is put this calculation inside here. That way, if it's not negative, then it doesn't change it. So it's actually a better idea. So we're going to grab that calculation. That way, it only calculates it if it's inside there. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to put it right in here. Okay. That way, down here, when we start doing these scoop costs, if there was a negative, even though it doesn't show up, it could affect our subtotal calculations. Okay. So I'm taking these calculations and I'm putting it in this very simple if statement. Okay. So if scoop 1 quantity is greater than 0, do the math and output. Okay. Along with the break at the end. And then do the next one. Okay. So we're going to grab that line of code and put it into the next one also. And do that same thing for this line of code. Put it into the next one also. Okay. So you'll notice I only did 3 of them. I also need to do these other 3. But just in a matter of this time, we're just going to not worry about that right now. So I'm going to save that. And now it will only calculate if the quantity is greater than 0. Pretty cool. Now we go down to our subtotal calculations. Obviously, subtotal is equal to adding all those up. Okay. And then we output it. So we put here for our comment, subtotal calculation and output. Okay. So, and then we add a couple lines, a couple breaks, and we do our tip calculation and output. Okay. So our tip is tip times subtotal, and we created a new one called tip cost. Why is that? So we can do our tip cost here and still not mess with our tip, the actual percentage. Notice our percentage was a decimal form. To get it out of decimal form, I made a new variable called tip percent, and I just times tip by 100. And that's what shows up here, and I just added the percent sign in the text. Okay. And then finally, it's total. And we didn't actually calculate this one, but it would be something like, we would come over here and we would say, total calculation and output. And here it would be total is equal to subtotal plus tip costs plus, that's perfect, just like that. Subtotal plus tip cost, and later we can add taxes in there also. So I'm going to highlight this total. I'm going to paste it right down here, and now that works also. Okay, so that all looks pretty good. So that's essentially what the code looks like. You'll want to adjust. You'll want to move these 3 lines into some more if statements here. But let's just take a look at what's going on with the if statements, and also notice that this tip cost on our output was a different. When we go back to it and we click submit, notice it has like your tip is $2.39, 0.3952, right? So we want to fix that so it's just 2 decimal places. To do that, we will come down here to tip cost, and we will put a quote, concatenate, and now we're going to run the number format. Okay, and that's a function that we can do on tip cost. And if we use (2), then the (2) means to go to 2 decimal places. Okay, close the function and concatenate again and close up with the double quotes. So we essentially broke the string that we were echoing, ran it through a number cost, and just added it right here in the middle using these concatenations. Okay, so that's what these dots do. And I'm going to go ahead and put a space here so you can see it's just concatenated. Okay, I like my spacing, so I'm going to add another space here and here so you can just really see the concatenation. Okay, that basically means stop echoing this out, do some more PHP, and then keep echoing it out. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I guess total probably needs to have that also, so I'll let you apply this same thing down here to the total, and you might want to make sure you look at taxes also, so try to figure that out with taxes. All right, I'm going to save that. I'm going to go back out and refresh this page, and it should automatically kicked it out to $2.40. And notice that the total needs to also be adjusted so that it doesn't have 4 decimal places. So sorry that video took so long time, but we covered a lot of stuff. That's almost 8 minutes of fantastic going over how to do the actual PHP, all the stuff we've learned so far in this class. So if you have any questions, email me.